Erev Torah type. One of our friends texted me today, asked a good question, which is that, there's a mitzvah to teach you something, right? There's a mitzvah called Shtei Mikra Targum. What does this mean? Every week, that the Keilah, the Tzibur, reads the Parasha Shavua. Also, the individual has to read Shtei Mikra Targum with them together. Same week that they read the Parasha. So this week now we're going to read the Vayera, right? So we have to also, all of us, right? We have to read the Parasha ourselves as well. Shtei Mikra Targum. So what does that mean? You have to do the whole Parasha from beginning to end. But not only that, you got to do the Pasuk 2 times and 1 time Targum. This is the minimal thing that a person has to do. Where is this brought down? Shulchan Aruch, Siman Reish Pei Hei, over there, right? In the Orach Chaim, it says there, right, that if a person does this, Marichim lo yamav v'shnotav. They're going to give him a long life also, because he does this. So it's not enough just to, come to the shul and hear the Parasha from the Baal Koreh. You also have to read this, the Parasha. Everybody has to do it. So the question was like this, right? There's a lot of rules about this, by the way, reading the Parasha, all kinds of rules. But what he was asking is like this, that according to Kabbalah, a person is not supposed to read the Tanach, the Chumash, not supposed to read it during the night. It's supposed to read it during the daytime. Because it says there in the Zohar Kadosh that the proper time for the written Torah is in the daytime. The proper time for the oral Torah, right, the Torah Shebal Peh, is in the nighttime. So they explain, right, the Mekubalim, the Arizal, he explains, right, the problem is like this, that when a person reads Shtei Mikra Targum, right, which is the Chumash, he reads this during the night, so he gets into a certain klipa there, some impurity, some tumah there he gets into. This is the thing, so that's why a person shouldn't do it at night, Shtei Mikra Targum. Should do it in the daytime only. According to Arizal, a person, when is he supposed to do Shtei Mikra Targum? Right, he's supposed to do this on Yom Shishi. Mechila. Targum is the translation into Aramaic, Aramit. Shtei Mikra Targum. Onkelos. Right? The onkelos. If you look in the Chumash, right? You open it up, you see the text is the one, and on the side there's onkelos. On the side. This is the Targum.
What about regular Chumash? Can we read at night?
That's what we're saying, right? That you're not supposed to really read Chumash at night. You're not really supposed to do that. So same thing here with the Shtei Mikra Targum. It's not asur, don't get me wrong, but better to do oral Torah, the Torah Shebal Peh at night. So what does that mean? Mishnah, Talmud, Halacha, right? Things like this. You're supposed to do at night. Zohar, right? Things like this at night. In the daytime, more, right? Torah should be chtav. But the truth is, right, that this is not really halacha. This is a Kabbalistic thing, But anyway, the question was like this, right? This guy's asking me now, are you allowed to read it at night, the Shtei Mikra Targum? So I told him, I said, no, you're not allowed to. According to Kabbalah, it's not asur, but better not to do it this way. Better not to do. So he asked me, well, what should I do? I have a job, I go 9 to 5. So when should I read the Shtei Mikra Targum? The only time I have is at night. This was the question, right? So I told him, I said, okay, I'll give you a solution to your problem, right? Number one, what you can do is, read it on Yom Shishi. If you're not working on Friday so much, you have a short day, let's say, you work half a day. So you can read it on Yom Shishi. That's one thing. If you can't do it on the weekdays. Number two, also you can read it Shabbat morning. Right? Shabbat morning. So what does that mean? You can read it like before Shachrit or after Musaf, before the Seudah, You can also read it at that time. It's pretty good time to read it at that time. You can do that too. I told him, I said, I'll tell you, I don't do it this way. I personally, right, what do I do? I'll tell you what I do. What I do is, you see me here when I come here for Shachrit. I don't come every day here for Shachrit. But if I do, you see me, right? You look at me. You see what I do. I put tefillin Rabbeinu Tam, like the rabbi, right? The rabbi puts also. Yonatan, we have also, right? He puts Rabbeinu Tam. I put Rabbeinu Tam, and then I read the Shtei Targum, one kriya every day. So I divide it up into 7 portions, It makes it easier. Why? Because every morning, few minutes, 5 minutes, finished. Right? This way you don't have to take so much time, because if you do it in one shot, it takes like 2 hours. If you're not so fast, it could take like 2 hours. If you're really fast, maybe you could do it in an hour, I don't know. Right? Whatever. But it's not so easy, to do it this way. So that's why I do it like this. Who used to do like this? The Gra, the Gaon Mivina. That's what he did also. Like what I do, I was mitkamen to his shita, right? The Gra. That's what he did also. Every day he read one parsha, one aliyah, every day. This way you divide it up into 7, It makes it easier. You don't have to spend so much time. That's the thing, But the thing is, what I do is like this. What I do is on Yom Shishi, on Friday, I read Shishi and also Shvi'i. I read 2 because I don't want to read it on Shabbat. So I finish it on Friday because according to the Arizal, you're supposed to finish it on Friday, Yom Shishi. That's the Kabbalah, according to Kabbalah. So that's the way I do it, personally. I told him, you can do like me, every morning, 5 minutes, 10 minutes maximum, you can do it. That's also possible. But let's say he doesn't have time, so I'll give you another solution. There's also another way to do it. You know what you can also do? When they're reading the Torah, right, on Shabbat in the morning, you can read yourself also Shtei Targum at that time. He's doing Sefer Torah, you're doing your mitzvah. Same time. You can do that. Some people do it like this, but you have to be a little bit quick, It's not a lot of time there.
I don't understand what you're talking about, sir. You're talking about explanation of Torah or just a regular Torah?
Mikra, pasuk, 2 times, and 1 time Targum.
What's
This is
Targum?
We just told you 10 minutes ago.
But this book doesn't come up with explanation. It's only regular Chumash.
I'm sorry? If you open a Chumash, right, you see, on top there's pasuk, on the side there's Targum
You don't
Onkelos.
have this kind of stuff.
You don't have because you're using a Russian one, that's why. Take a regular Chumash, you're going to see it there.
We don't have this kind of stuff.
So you better get it. You better buy it. Right, or borrow it from the shul. The shul has it, Also, if you have Art Scroll, they have. The Art Scroll also has Targum on the top. Even though it has English, it has also Targum on the top. It has it. Right, so every good Chumash has Targum, If it doesn't have Targum, it's not a good Chumash. This is a...
Just open on the Torah, you will see what we have.
Right, I understand. I got you. I understand. But anyway, right, that's not good enough, for this mitzvah. So anyway, as we said, right, he's reading the Sefer Torah, so you can read the Shtei Targum at that time as well. Even though you're not really listening to him, you're doing your own thing, But they allow this to rabbis. The Chachamim allowed this. Why is this, by the way? What's the reason why they allowed it? Because the truth is, that the mitzvah of reading the Torah, the Sefer Torah, is not on the individual, it's on the Sibur. So it's not like you're chayav, you're chayav. No, the Sibur is chayav. To read the Sefer Torah. So you yourself, are not really chayav to listen to everything. If you're doing, the Shtei Targum, you can do that and not listen to it. It's possible to do.
If he reading Torah in Hebrew, do I have to follow or do I have to read? I'm allowed to read translation what he reading in this?
Yeah, you can do quietly though, not out loud, right? Not out loud. Yeah, quietly. Yeah, quietly. You can look at something, whatever you want to look at.
Reading Torah.
Yeah, you want to look at the Russian, you want to look at the English. No problem. There's no problem with that. Yeah, of course. Yeah, but not out loud, right? Quiet.
No, of course not.
That you can do, no problem. So this is the way, some people do. I can tell you, right, that Maran, Rabbi, my rabbi, I used to see him, on Shabbat. I used to pray there on Shabbat. So what did he do? How did he do it? When they were reading the Torah, he was reading Shtei Targum himself, That's what he was doing. Why? Why a dafka there at that time? He did because he said, he says, Yom Shishi, I don't have time for this. Why don't you don't have time, Rabbi? Where are you going? You going to work? You're going to Rabota? What? Why don't you have time for? So he said, he says, Yom Shishi, I write Chidushim, He says, my Chidushim I do Yom Shishi. I don't have time to do Shtei Targum Yom Shishi. So he says, that's why I do it when they're reading the Sefer Torah. Sometimes, I used to see him, he was reading, like this, man. Sometimes after a person got Aliyah, he would go to Maran to kiss his hand, right after after he got the Aliyah. So the rabbi sometimes wouldn't even notice that he's there. You know why? Because he's reading himself outside. He's reading high. He didn't give you had to notify him. Oh, I'm here. Hi. Otherwise he wasn't his own thing. That's what Maran did, because he didn't have time on Yom Shishi to do Shtei Mikra Targum. So he did it on Shabbat. As we said, right, as they were reading the Torah. The truth is, you have to read it 3 times, as we said, right? Why? Because 2 times Mikra, 1 time Targum. It's three times each pasuk. So it takes a long time. It's not short. The Baal Koreh reads it 1 time, right? He can do it in a half hour. 40 minutes, right? He can read the whole thing. But 3 times when it's like an hour and a half, 2 hours. Sometimes it takes a long time.
Question
2
actually. So, from your words, it sounds like if I want to, let's say, at night sit and learn Torah,
yeah,
it's not allowed.
It's let me tell you the answer.
Question.
Yeah, good, second question.
Let's say I want to listen to the Torah from the Rabbi. Am I allowed or not?
It's a good question. You see, this is a good question. So the answer is like this, right? As we said, you know what Maran used to tell us? I'll explain to you. He gave the answer to your question. He said, if you, let's say, are going in at night somewhere, in the street, you're taking a bus, I don't know, whatever. You're taking a subway, I don't know, whatever it is, right? So he said, you should be learning Torah over there, when you're waiting for the subway, for the bus. Don't just stand there, looking at the sky, counting the sheep, He said, it's Bitul Torah. You have to. So he said, if you don't have any, Torah to read, you don't have a book with you, Sefer. So he says, just read something, some Tehillim. Some Chumash, Tehillim, whatever you know by heart, Right? If you know by heart some Tehillim, everybody knows, right? Ashrei Yoshem Yatecha, Shila Ma'alot, right? We know something, right? Everybody knows something, So he said, read that. That's also Torah. So what do you see from there? You see from there, if a person doesn't have Torah Shebal Peh, doesn't have halachot to read, I have, but Baruch Hashem, I have on my phone. I have apps, I have the whole, everything on my phone. I got everything, almost everything, not everything, like the poskim, but I got a lot of stuff on my phone, so if I'm somewhere, I can just take out my phone, and start reading. So that I can do that, I have a nice app. So that's the answer to your question, right? The answer is that if you have some Torah Shebal Peh, you should do Torah Shebal Peh better, But if you don't have, read Torah Shebichtav also, the written Torah, because better to read written Torah than to stand there like a like a golem, like a robot, that's the answer.
I'm not allowed to read Tehillim at night either.
So that's the thing, Tehillim better, if you're doing it as a tefillah, you're allowed to do it. Some people read Tehillim as a tefillah, to pray for somebody. This is allowed. What you're not allowed to do is just to read Tehillim, just, like Torah. But it's, as we said, right, if you have nothing else to do, you can read Tehillim, you can do the Chumash. But if you have something else, halachot or something, Mishnah, Gemara, so you should do that. That's the thing, right? Only if you don't have something, then do what you want, what you have. Whatever, even something you have in your head, right? So that you can do that too. That's also Torah. So, it's better than nothing, right? That's what I'm trying to tell you. The other question was, can you listen to drasha, right? And the answer is for sure, yes. Why? What's the reason why? Because over there, it's not just Chumash, he's doing Midrash, Gemarot, right? All kinds of things, So it's also Torah Shebal Peh there. It's not just, you're just reading Psukim. It's Drashot there. So this is Torah Shebal Peh, so it's allowed, yes. So that's fine. To listen to Shurim at night, no problem, right? We're just talking about reading the Chumash, Stam. Right, this week I'll tell you something funny, right? We read, right, Parashat Lech Lecha. So in the beginning, right, in Aliyah Rishonah, it says over there, right, Avram spread his ohel, right? So it says Aholo, right? So some people think, they don't know how to read this because it says kamatz, So they think it's ahalo or ohalo. This is not correct. How is it correct with aholo? Because you have 2 kamatz, second becomes o. So it's not ohalo, it's aholo. So a person, who doesn't know how to read so good, I heard him, and I told him, I said, No good. Aholo, not ohalo. You're not reading it right. Right. So Chumash, is you can take on YouTube, right? If you want to read, if you want to hear somebody, Chazan, Baal Koreh, who's reading Chumash, they have everything there. The whole Torah they have. You can hear somebody reading. If you want to learn how to read, the Sefer Torah, right? You have Chazanim over there on YouTube. Every parsha they have there. Sfaradi, Ashkenazi, right? Marocai, they have everything. Everything is there, So if you're not sure how to read something, open it up, and see how he reads it. The Chazan, the Baal Koreh, because he's professional, he has a masoret, he knows how to do. That's the thing. So anyway, as we said, right, Rabbi, the rule is like this, if you cannot do, but if you don't have time, even in the morning, or you don't have time, as we said, right, even on Shabbat, you don't have time when they're reading the Torah. I don't know. If you don't have no time whatsoever, so then you have no choice, right? You can read it at night. You know what I mean? If you have no choice, the Mr. Targum, you have no choice. But if you have a choice, better not to do it this way. Baruch Adonai Leolam, Amen ve'Amen. לפי חנן, שאומר, עשה הקדוש ברוך הוא לעוסק בישראל, לפיך חיבר להם תורה ומצוות, שנאמר בנו חפץ, למען צדקו יגדיל תורה וידיר.